So, one question that I've got on my bit of paper is how did I become an editor? And I became an editor in a rather circuitous route. Most people, there is a much more of a graded process, but I initially worked at HarperCollins. I was worked in marketing on the educational side, and then I moved over and was a marketing director at HarperCollins. But what I really enjoyed about my job at that point was the publishing, was getting involved in what the books looked like. So I then moved over and I was the paperback publisher, and then after that I came to Viking, where I haven't really looked back. I love it here. So another question that someone asked me was what have been the defining moments of your career at Penguin? One of the best moments for me was I had 2 simultaneous #1s, which was a great moment and probably never to be repeated. That I was the publisher of Memory Keeper's Daughter and a book called The Great Big Glorious Book for Girls. Many people actually ask me at parties or out, or when I say what I do, people say, well, what do you look for? What's the key to a good book, and what specifically do I look for? And I think there's a a long answer and there's a short answer, but ultimately I think it's quite simple. What I look for is great writing and a good story, and I also think that it's important to have characters that you want to be with, that you want to read about for a few hours. So that's what I look for, and I think that's the case for non-fiction as well. Probably not so much for the characters, but even non-fiction you need a good story and you need great writing. And what's the one book that got away? I don't think I'm going to answer that because it's too embarrassing. I've turned down too many great books, but I will say I have turned down, very embarrassingly, something on the Booker shortlist and books on the Orange shortlist. So, and what am I working on at the moment? My 2 favourite novels that I'm publishing this year. The first one is called The Postmistress by Sarah Blake. She's an American writer, and when you buy a book and you set out to publish it, there's always this slight worry that not everybody else is going to share your love for something. But with this book, I've had the most extraordinary response. Everyone who I've given it to has then eulogised about it and written me emails, and actually in many cases letters, saying how much they adore this novel. It's set in 1914 and in America and London. It's just before America joins the war. It's also partly set in the Blitz. It's about 3 women, and one of the women is called Frankie, and she's a very glamorous radio gal, and she's here reporting back to America on what's going on, and she's desperate for America to join the war, and she thinks if she can find the perfect story, then it'll pull people into action. It's a very heartfelt, very moving book. The characters leap off the page and it's completely unputdownable, and I'm very excited about it. My second favourite novel is a wonderful book by Catherine O'Flynn, who won the Costa Novel Award with a book called What Was Lost. This is her second novel, The News Where You Are. This is very different from The Postmistress, but completely wonderful. The writing is extraordinary. She's very funny. She's a writer who manages to make you laugh and make you cry, sometimes even on the same page, which is an extraordinary talent. Also, I love this book because it's a very affectionate look at England. It's set in Birmingham. One of the main characters is a great guy called Frank, who works on regional daytime TV, and he's very popular in the student community just because they think he's such a joke, because he tells has terrible lines and awful puns. But it's a story, I think, about family, about heritage, and about modern Britain.